Hi guys, John here. Today is another video about testing 22 LR ammunition. So I'm not sure if you would have seen, but video number 4, I had my Ruger 1022 and 4 different 22 LR ammunitions, and I was out testing the accuracy of them. So this video is quite similar. I've got the 4 same ammo, and I'm going to be testing it with this Ruger 1022. On this video I'm also going to be testing all the different ammunitions with these 2 different suppressors. So this is a DPT with 4 baffles, and then it's just a little cheap one. So we're going to be testing the noise reduction, and that should be interesting to see which one's actually quieter, with how much of a difference the higher quality suppressor makes. So I've got the 2 same ammo, Winchester subsonic 40 and 42 grain, and CCI suppressor 45 grain and subsonic 40 grain. So we'll go out and test them shortly. But first I thought I'd better give you a rundown of the rifle. So this is Greg Hudson's from Custom Guns in Invercargill. So it's had quite a few modifications done to it. The first one that's most visible is it's obviously got a new stock on it. So this is Boyd's. So it's a thumb hole stock. It's ambidextrous, so it's going to fit just as well for left or right handed people. And it fits very well in your hands, and it's very comfortable to shoot with. This stock also makes the barrel free floated, which often increases the accuracy of the firearm. And it's also been threaded for a suppressor. So you've got the 2 suppressors, and at the same time as he threaded it, he also re-crowned it, which often helps the accuracy as well. My Ruger 1022 has got a dovetail mount, or all 1022s have, but Greg has put a Weaver or Picatinny rail on his, which then allows him to put Weaver mounting rings on it. So in this case he's got Leopold's, and he's topped it off with a Leopold VX2 thread 9x40 scope. So they're a very nice, reliable scope, and they're very nice to use as well. They've got nice thin crosshairs, so you can see your target or animal very easily. My favourite modification to this rifle is that when you lock the bolt open like that, all 1022s you can lock the bolt open, you pull it back, push the button on the bottom, and it locks it open. Most of them, to close it again, you pull it back, click the button again, and it releases it forward. Whereas Greg has done a modification on this, so you lock it open, and you just flick it and it flicks forward, which is by far my favourite modification done to this rifle. It means you can have your magazine loaded, and in the rifle you bolt open, and when you're ready to fire you just flick it and then flick your safety off and you're good to go. So I really like that function, and it's very cool. He also lightened the trigger on it, just to give it a nicer, crisper firing. So that also allows you to shoot more accurately as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how much more accurate, or if any more accurate, this rifle is compared to my 1022, with all these features done to it. So I'd say it will be. These features all should make the rifle shoot more accurately. So if you're wanting to get any of these modifications done, Greg there, he's in at Custom Guns on 127 Yarrow Street, which is in southern New Zealand in Invercargill. So you can head in there and get all these modifications done very easily. So we're just this rifle's only just had the scope put on it, so we're going to head out for a start. I'll sight it in, and then I'll flip the camera on and we'll start videoing and do some testing of this ammunition. Right, so I've got the rifle sighted in now, so now what I'm going to do is put these 3 caps back on so nothing can adjust. Now I'm going to go over there, I'll unload the rifle first, point it in a safe direction, and I'm going to go over there, swap the target over, and the first ammo that I'm going to test is Winchester subsonic 40 grain. So I've got these targets here, so I'm going to be aiming for the centre of this diamond here, but then you can also tell what it's going to look like comparison to a hair. So I'll go over there and chuck one of those targets up. magazine in, pull the bolt back, check the safeties on, and I'll fire. Someone's going to fire 5 shots, and we'll see how it groups. Right, I'm quite happy with that. You guys have watched video number 4. This ammo was actually the least accurate. Right, so I'll take that suppressor off. I've got this tiny little one. Put that on there. Now, it's not the best looking thing, but we'll see how it goes. So go over there, swap the target over. Already I can tell that this suppressor's definitely not as quiet as the DPT. Right, jammed. Right, so there's those 5 shots. So that suppressor, I don't know if you can tell through the camera, but that suppressor's definitely louder. Right, so Winchester subsonic 42 grain. So they call it 42 max. Get 5 rounds of that out. See, it's got a more rounded, I should have showed you 40 grain, but it's got a more rounded nose on it than the 40 grain. This DPT is a whole lot quieter than that little cheap one. Jammed. Right, so that's my 5 shots. This task involves a lot of swapping stuff around. So you just have to make sure you're not getting your heart rate up. That'll affect your shooting. So going over to swap the target, just make sure you do it quietly so you don't muck your heart rate up. Alright, so as you might have already realised, the way that I'm testing the noise of these suppressors and ammo is not very scientific. It's purely just my ear, what I think of it. Jammed again. Right, so that's 5 shots. It's not the best group I've ever shot, by any means. Right, so the next ammo I'm shooting's CCI suppressor. This is a 45 grain high point projectile. I'm going to load up. Got 10 rounds of this in. No, 5 rounds, sorry. I'm thinking about getting my 1022 suppressed. And I've always just thought that I'd just get a cheap one. Just thought surely they can't be a terrible amount different, but after shooting that cheap one that I've got borrowing at the moment, and the DPT one, there's just no comparison. The DPT is so much better. Right, I'm happy with that. That's good. So at this range of 30 metres, I need to be getting groups like that to give me the confidence to shoot out a bit further. So obviously this isn't my rifle, so I'm not going to be shooting out further with it. But if this was my rifle, I'd be wanting to get groups like that at 30 metres. Take the suppressor off. Just making sure I'm looking after the thread on the rifle and the suppressor while I'm swapping them over. The suppressor is definitely louder. Now I'm going to swap the target over, swap the suppressor, swap the ammo, and the next ammo is CCI subsonic 40 grain. Right, take that suppressor off. DPT on. Check the safeties on. Mag in. Definitely accurate ammo. That's a very nice little group. It's about the same as how it shot through my 1022, or maybe probably actually a little bit better. So now I'll swap the suppressor over and the target. Right, so this is my last 5 rounds. So this is the cheaper suppressor. We'll see how much louder it is with this ammo. Right, so as you'll have seen, I've been out to this 30 metre target that I've got set up. Shot this little Ruger 1022 and tested the two different suppressors. So it's got the DPT on it at the moment. It's a little cheap one. So I've worked out, well, noticed that this little cheap one is definitely not as quiet as this DPT, which is understandable. The DPT is a lot better quality, so it should be quieter, but it definitely is. So that's good. Good thing to find out, or good thing to work out. Now, I've probably already said it, but I'll say it again. So this rifle's got quite a few modifications done to it. The trigger's been lightened. It's had a Weaver or Picatinny rail put on it. It's got a Leopold VX2, and it's got a new stock. It's been threaded for a suppressor, and it's also got an auto bolt release done to it. That's my favourite modification. Pull the bolt back, lock it open, bump it. I've probably already said it to you, but that's very cool, and I really like using that. So, been out, shot these targets with the 4 different ammos. So the Winchester subsonic 40 grain with the cheap suppressor, not the best group in the world. I'm not very pleased with that. I could definitely shoot better than that. Winchester subsonic 40 grain with the DPT suppressor, so that's better, but still not ridiculously good. CCI subsonic 40 grain with the DPT, so I'm very pleased with that little group. It's very, very tight. CCI subsonic 40 grain with the cheap suppressor, so that's not a bad little group, but still not ridiculously good. Not as good as a shot with the DPT suppressor. Then CCI suppressor 45 grain with the cheap suppressor. So it's not the best group in the world. If this little bottom shot here was up with the other ones, it'd be a very nice little group. CCI suppressor 45 with the DPT, so that's a nice little group. Very pleased with that. Winchester subsonic 42 grain with the cheap suppressor, so not happy with that at all. And Winchester subsonic 42 grain with the DPT suppressor, so that's not the best of groups either. From what you will have just seen, the CCI subsonic 40 grain with the DPT, that shot most accurately. It was a very nice little group. So it's a very nice little group. I'm quite pleased with that. That's the ammo that was the most accurate. I tested in video number 4 with my 1022. So that's just a stock standard 1022, my one. Nothing, doesn't look anything like this one. But it shot very well with this ammunition, but not as good with this modified rifle. So I've also worked out that this modified rifle is shooting more accurately than my Ruger 1022, which is just plain as. It's had nothing fancy done to it at all. It's just got a cheap scope, cheap rings, and it's just got the factory thread on it as well. So factory crown, sorry. So the redoing the crown often increases your accuracy. So I'm very pleased with how that test went. It's taught me some good stuff. So I've always wanted to get my 1022 suppressed. When I just thought I'd get something little and cheap like this. But after doing this test, it's completely changed my mind. If I'm gonna get my 1022 suppressed, I'll definitely be getting a DPT. Just it was a lot quieter than this little cheap one, and I'm guessing it'll be quieter than most other cheap ones as well. So I'm not sure if you will have noticed, but while I was doing that shooting, I had a few, or on the video I called them jams, but they weren't really. It was, the bolt was going over top of the round in the magazine. So that's, you wouldn't really call that a jam. It's just the magazine. It's just full of dirt. Needs a good blowout with an air hose or something to give it a clean out. So because the spring wasn't lifting it up properly, so at times the bolt could go straight over top of the round. So just in case you're wondering, it's nothing to do with the modifications done to this rifle. It's just a dirty magazine that needs cleaned out. And it's nothing to do with the ammos either. So I'm very pleased with how this video went, and I'm hoping it's taught you something as well. And it's definitely shown to me that this rifle is more accurate than mine, which is good to know as well, due to that's all just due to these modifications done to it. Right, so if you guys are wanting to get any of these modifications done, or similar modifications done to any of your rifles, Custom Guns are on 127 Yarrow Street, which is in Southern New Zealand in Invercargill. So they're a gunsmith, and they're also a gun shop as well. So you can head in there for any of your gunsmithing needs, and also buy your ammo and optics and everything as well. So Greg and you will hook you up with some great equipment, and some great advice as well. So I'm very pleased with how this testing went, and yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
A love-struck Romeo, sing the streets a serenade, laying